have an organization and possibilities and also limitations. There are limitations imposed on that law, on those laws, which dispel the possibility of their evolving beyond a certain stage without an outside agency's help. For instance, television or the video, they are governed by physical laws. There is no doubt about it. But the limitation of the physical laws is that these laws could not be organized by themselves into a television or into a video set. These are by an organization which compels us to think beyond and to consider the question of who is responsible for this. So a scientist cannot dispel the need of a mechanic or an inventor or a builder by telling us simply that all these are physical laws. Can't you understand, you simpletons, that a television follows strictly physical laws, which are there globally. They don't defy these laws. So because they don't, so there is no need for any builder. That is your imagination. Will there be a valid question? It will be stupid. So the scientists are not interested in this question in which religion is interested. But that question is given strength by the scientists' observations of how things run. We reach a stage of discovery where we are positively, more and more positively convinced that this correlationship and organization could not be there without the existence of an outside governing body which knows the inner secrets of the universe and which knows the laws of physics. Now I turn to an organ in your body, which is eye. A physicist can tell you that the eye follows the physical laws and it does not defy any physical law. It is built entirely on the conception and understanding of physical laws. So is a camera. For instance, the modern cameras, consider any camera made in Switzerland or in Sweden, as I understand, they make the most sophisticated cameras. They also follow the physical laws, like the eye does. But the building of eye is still by far most excellent thing. And no camera, however complicated it may be, can compare in excellence with the building of the eye. The purity, not only the building of the eye, but also its messages to the brain center and the evolving of a picture there and its inversion automatically and understanding of what is happening, what the camera is receiving. Now such a camera is not yet invented, even in preliminary stages. A camera which can receive a message, which can decode it and turn it into a picture by understanding what is going on around. So the eye is a complete unit. And this unit has a complicated correlationship which of course is based on the laws of physics, but which could not come into being by itself, because it is more complicated than the modern cameras, and modern cameras could not come into being by themselves without the influence of outside agencies. So what we say is that in building processes, the more complicated they become, more there is the certainty of a conscious being present before that thing came into being, in that complex form. There has to be outside agents working upon such complex units or creations. Otherwise, there is no logic in things left at all. So it's not our imagination. It is a direct inference of our observations. This is a simple thing which was even understood by people of the older centuries. I mean, the religious people knew that the reason why we believe in God is not because we think things present, they could be eternal, but because there is an organization, an organization which is entirely dependent upon outside agencies. The question of who made those agencies is not a relevant question because we don't know them. What we know is that the things as we find them today, in the form we find them today, could not be eternal. Like Hazrat Imam Abu Hanifa, for instance, once was invited for a debate with an atheist of his time. And the atheism-theism relationship is not a new one. I mean, the present day man thinks that because he's advanced too much so, he has a right to be atheist. He has as much right to be atheist as people 10,000 years ago. And the religious people have as much right to be theists as people 10,000 years ago. That correlationship, that balance of ratio and proportion remains exactly the same. Nobody can change this relationship because there are other factors involved in this than just simple development of man's thought, I mean. Now, leaving that question aside, otherwise it will lead us to other complexities. I quote the incident which came to my mind of Hazrat Abu Abu Hanifa. A time was set when he was to reach a certain place where he was to hold a debate with an atheist on the existence of God. There was a small river between him, the place where he was, and the place that is the venue of this debate. So he reached there very late. All the people were looking forward to his coming and defeating this atheist, and they waited and waited and waited for hours, and there was no sign of Hazrat Imam Abu Hanifa. So ultimately they saw him coming, and the atheist was very angry. He said, look here, this is what God creates, your God? People like this, who can't keep time, who can't be punctual? What is the use of believing in such a God who teaches you, such things, and whose followers are so indisciplined and so on? So Hazrat Imam Abu Hanifa said, look here, just wait, please listen to my side, listen to the reasons why I am late, and then decide for yourself whether I was helpless or there were things beyond my control or not. So he said, all right, what is your explanation? He said, my explanation is that there is a river in between, and when I reached that river, the other bank, there was no boat. Normally there used to be a boat, but there was no boat. So I waited and waited for some boat to appear, but instead of a boat appearing, I saw a stir in the wind, and ultimately the wind started moving very fast and it turned into a hurricane, and the trees started falling. And a tree fell quite close to me. And then I saw a saw, an iron saw, also carried by the wind, and the wind started moving to and fro. And the saw started working on that tree until it turned into planks, and the wind then threw them apart, and they were just in the form of a boat shape. Then I saw nails being carried by the wind, and they started dropping, the head on the top and the narrow edge towards the planks, and they fell on angles in which they started binding the two planks. And I also saw stones and hammers falling on the heads of the nails,